Welcome to Blockstream Talk. Today's conversation is with Kerem Tibuk from BtcTurk, one of the longest running exchanges in the business. I'm always interested to check on how narratives match up with reality. And a long-running story in Bitcoin is that in times of extreme currency distress or aggressive capital controls, Bitcoin becomes the safe haven asset of last resort. And oftentimes we see prices spike around these kind of events, but I've always wondered if this is just traders punting on a story or reflective of real organic demand. We saw this story for the first time in Cyprus in 2013, and later also with Grexit, numerous times in China, Venezuela, Ukraine, Russia, and then in fourth quarter of last year, it was Turkey's turn. So Kerem offered his boots on the ground assessment of how these kind of events can translate into real world Bitcoin adoption. We also discussed the many trials and tribulations of being an exchange operator in what is still a very hostile world. And as someone who previously managed a Bitcoin OTC desk, I have to say, most users and investors do not appreciate how tough it is out there. Enjoy the conversation. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Kerem, welcome. Thanks for doing this today.
Thank you for having me.
Maybe to start off, could you give us a brief introduction to who you are, what you do, and how you got interested in Bitcoin?
Sure. I'm an entrepreneur. I've been trying to start businesses since late 1990s. I've had some successes, some failures, but mostly in the digital space. I had some startups, and I think late 2010 or early 2011, I can't remember the exact date, I discovered Bitcoin. But previously, before that, even I was interested in economics also, like mostly Austrian economics, Mises Institute. I used to read Mises, Rothbard, and all the Austrian economists. And I was sure the current financial system wasn't sustainable. But back then, all we had was gold, returning back to gold standard, and how could we do it? And we would discuss and on the internet mostly before the social media, on the forums and email groups and stuff. And then I discovered Bitcoin, and it was a new thing. I wanted, as soon as I discovered it, I wanted to succeed very much, but I couldn't trust it. I wasn't, really sure if it would take hold, sustain, how it would react to sustained attacks and all that stuff that we didn't know back then. But I really wished it would succeed, and I started buying, selling, playing with it, trying to understand it more. And then 2013, at the beginning of 2013 or at the end of 2012, I've decided to start a Bitcoin exchange, basically. We started working on it, and July 2013, we opened up, and we're one of the first exchanges in the world, I believe. And we've been trying to grow it since. It's been a hell of a 9 years, actually.
Yeah, so 2013, I mean, that's really early in the exchange business. Do you guys, you're based in Turkey, do you guys consider yourself primarily a Turkey-focused exchange or global, or how do you look at that?
It's funny because we are a Turkish-focused company as BtcTurk, but I have another company, and at the very beginning, I had a different plan, actually. We started two companies. One was BtcTurk, and it was going to focus on Turkey and do the exchange in Turkey. And the other was BtcTrader, which would develop the software and give white labels and grow it internationally. We've had some attempts by the way of getting some partnerships in different countries, Greece, Philippines, and almost South Korea. But we weren't very successful in that. The local business was growing much faster, and it was very hard to find the right partners and do international business, B2B agreements especially. So we shelved the global expansion strategy, especially in 2017 with the bull market, and we decided to focus on the local market, Turkey. And I think we did a good job because since I've been in this for a long time, I knew a little bit about the cycles, the halvings, and all the hype that comes after it. So after 2017, we got into the bear market as expected by us, but we kept investing in human resources, in infrastructure, and we waited for the 2020 halving, and it kind of happened as we expected. So it was a nice thing to know, beforehand. So yes, in Turkey we're mostly right now.
And how big is the market in Turkey at the moment?
Uh, I think we have close to 5 million users, and we're the largest in Turkey. But uh, most of our customers have accounts in other exchanges, other Turkish exchanges, and global exchanges. So I would put it around 8 9 million people in total who has accounts in a cryptocurrency exchange and trade cryptocurrencies right now, I think. So it's a pretty big market.
Yeah, before I joined Blockstream, I worked at an exchange. It was kind of a similar situation. It's focused in Taiwan. Um, and I realized that I don't think the average users and the investors in Bitcoin understand the challenges that exchange operators face on a daily basis. It's a really, really tough business. More so, I imagine when you guys started in 2013, it must have been extremely difficult, especially on the banking side. And I mean, there's still banking problems going on today, which kind of blows my mind. But what are the biggest challenges and headaches that exchange operators face in 2022? Is it still banking, or is that getting easier?
Uh, it's getting easier, and I think we have a role in that. Let me rewind a little bit and tell you my experience, especially regarding banking situation. When we first started, of course, nobody knew about Bitcoin. Well, whoever I talked to, I had to start with trying to explain what Bitcoin is, and it's a difficult task, as you know. And it was when we first opened up, 2013 bull market was on the way, just before MTGOX collapsed, and at the end of 2013, the price went above $1,000. So there was a small hype back then too in Turkey. I was invited in a couple of TV shows. What's going on, what is Bitcoin, and stuff like that. And of course, with B2B relations, especially with banks, it's harder. It's like there's no defined regulation. It's something new. I don't think they realized Bitcoin as a competitor to their business, but still, the banks are very careful with these things. So we had a very difficult time opening up and maintaining bank accounts. We lost a lot of them, and we had one bank account in 2015, and there was a coup attempt in Turkey, and a couple of newspapers printed stories like the people who tried to do the coup d'etat was using cryptocurrencies and stuff, and we lost our last bank account. So for 8 months, we didn't have a bank account. We basically shut down the site. It was, the website was on. Of course, they could use it as a Bitcoin wallet, but no trades, no deposits or withdrawals in fiat. So we didn't have a bank account. So, but I didn't want to give up. I wanted to keep it going, and we kept developing. Of course, we had to uh, get the team a little bit smaller, cut some costs. But during those 8 years, I'm sorry, 8 months, we kind of waited and we said let's wait and see what's going to happen. And then and we were kind of known back then. So when we were trying to open a bank account, everybody knew me and the Bitcoin business, and they were trying to stay away from us. But we managed to open one bank account back again, late 2015 or early 2016, probably. No, early 2016. And we try to develop relationships slowly. And right now, we're one of I think we're the only exchange in the world that works with 7 banks, connected API 24/7. So we've come a long way in that regard, but we opened the way for other competitors too. Since we're old, and we stayed away from scandals and all these legal troubles, and we did our business right, and we didn't give any excuses to regulators or anybody else. We kind of legitimized the business in Turkey, and we opened up a door, and then all the competitors came in. I think hundreds of Turkish exchanges opened since then. Of course, most of them closed down and wasn't successful. There are a couple, but I think we did good, because the thing is, when I first opened BtcTurk, I didn't have commercial ambitions. I didn't expect to make a lot of money, to tell you the truth. I just wanted to open up a Bitcoin exchange so Turkish people could buy and sell Bitcoin. And Bitcoin is more important to me than BtcTurk, still is. I want Bitcoin to succeed. It's more important for all of humanity than one company succeeding. So uh, I put Bitcoin's welfare ahead of my company sometimes. It's a tightrope, It's not like, of course, we're trying to make money. Of course, we listen to our customers. We list other coins, shit coins, as we say. But I personally always talk about Bitcoin only. I only promote Bitcoin. We're trying to represent ourselves as a Bitcoin company, and we're but it's a tightrope, it's like I think we did good looking back, but here we are.
Yeah. So do you think banking is still the biggest challenge going forward for exchanges?
Not in Turkey,
Okay.
no.
So what do you feel are like the biggest challenges now for exchanges? I mean, in Turkey.
Macroeconomic and political stuff that can happen, it's like if very high inflation, we're the scapegoats. There's a war, we're the scapegoats. It's like it's easy to point us as scapegoats if something else goes wrong in the country or the economy or politically, whatever. So that's the biggest unknown and challenge. And uh, uh, regarding the business, the business is, I think, already legitimized in Turkey. We don't have a regulation yet, but it's on the way. Banks know it. Some banks invested heavily in relations with crypto exchanges after us. Uh, they have expectations, and they're making money also. So there is no banking problem in Turkey right now. But we can't know the future. We're in very volatile times, as you know, and Turkey is already a volatile country. So always we're looking at it optimistically, but we know what can happen. Since the beginning, 2013, I opened this company up. Every day, I expect it to be closed down shut down by the government. Yeah, I'm not a naive person. I know what can happen. But we tried our best not to give any excuses. I think we've done pretty good in that.
Yeah, you talked about volatility, and I think there's this stories that repeat within Bitcoin, and one of the common ones, I think it's a bit of like a musical chairs with currency devaluation and capital controls in Bitcoin. So at the moment it's Ukraine and Russia, but in the past we've had the same kind of story around Venezuela, China, Cyprus, and in fourth quarter of last year it was Turkey. And I guess the story is that people will go to Bitcoin at times of extreme currency volatility to hedge against that volatility, and then also to kind of try and evade capital controls. So I'm interested to know, is that what you saw on the ground? Did you see a surge in transactions and new users, or do you think that that's just a narrative that maybe traders play up and trade around those stories?
Uh, no, we absolutely saw the effect of it. As you know, Turkish lira has been devaluing against the US dollar for a long time now, especially in the past years. I think it lost half of its purchasing power in 1 year. And we Turks are used to this, actually. It's been every 6, 7 years we have an economic crisis. The foreign exchange prices goes up the roof. Lira loses value. So Turkish people know what a hard asset is and what inflation is, and we're not like the Western countries, like just seeing the inflation right now. 7, 8%. So
It's only
we
transitory.
people can real yeah. uh, Turkish people are pretty used to it, so they can, if they find a good asset that can keep their purchasing power, or even go up higher, they flock to it. It's like it's very easy transition for them. And Our volumes reflect this, of course, and plus the real volatility between Turkish lira and dollar reflects on Bitcoin price in Turkish lira. So even if Bitcoin price is stable in dollars, in Turkish lira, it's pretty volatile. So, uh, uh, like I said, we it's not a narrative; it's real, and especially in Turkey. But also, we have our banking system. I think is a pretty good one, both technologically and as the number of people who are banked. We have a large population, so uh, and that was I think we captured that local economic volatility pretty well because of that, because otherwise it would have been some frictions. If we were in a less developed country with less access to banking, it would have been like cash, p2p, otc, other stuff. But we have good banks with good technologies that can provide us api services, so we can automatize everything. So we kind of captured that volatility as revenue, and which was good.
So do you think that, I sometimes think that Bitcoin is viewed differently in different parts of the world and different markets. And I think the West, like North America, has been a little bit less receptive to Bitcoin because there's less volatility and because you have so many other payment options, and because everybody's banked, right? So you don't have the problem like El Salvador where so many people are unbanked. You don't have problems like these countries that have a lot of remittances where going back and forth is a real problem. You don't have currency volatility. So do you think in Turkey people have a different view of Bitcoin? Like, does it have a greater kind of percentage of mind share and adoption in Turkey than do you think in other countries like, Ukraine or the US or Canada or something?
Uh, I don't know, maybe, but Bitcoin is is very hard thing to understand conceptually in abstract terms. You can tell people they can read, but it's very hard for the common people to abstract what Bitcoin is and what the possible scenarios are. So they have to live it to understand. Everybody lives a different crisis at different times where Bitcoin can solve their problem. So they have to experience that, I think, because I've been in this very long time, even before Bitcoin. Generally, economics is a very hard subject. It requires a lot of abstraction and trying to see the unseen. It's not for everybody. I think it's even harder than quantum physics, to understand. But especially also Bitcoin is we're experiencing a new money emerging for the first time in our lives, probably, because all the other monies that came before Bitcoin were derivatives of precious metals, and precious metals, it's been thousands of years they became money. So we're in real life, we're seeing the emergence of a new money, and since we haven't witnessed this before, we don't know how it's going to take shape, how it's going to and how people are going to react to it. So what I'm seeing in my experience, it's going to take different experiences for everybody to understand the value of Bitcoin in time. And I'm not in a rush. I think Bitcoin is the best money that's ever invented, let's say. And it's going to prevail, I think, but it's going to take some time, probably.
Yeah, I think everyone's going to get a taste of crisis over the next 5 or 10 years. So the overall macro environment is probably pretty supportive. You mentioned the regulatory kind of framework in Turkey for crypto and Bitcoin exchanges. Um, I think especially around, we mentioned earlier, fourth quarter of last year and the volatility in the Turkish lira, and there was a lot of speculation on more capital controls. Did you guys see or hear anything like that? Because I think what happened in China, when they cracked down on Bitcoin mining, I think that had nothing to do with ESG and hitting carbon targets. That was about more capital controls, right? And did you see anything like that, or is there a concern about that?
We were very concerned, but it didn't materialize as of today. We can never be sure about the future. It's possible, but it's the probably politically, it's the last thing they can do. It's like if they do that, there's no turning back very easily. So it's gonna be a hard decision for the government if they even try to establish it. But we were concerned, of course, because Turkish lira was in a free fall like in 2 3 months ago. It's like every day 2 3%. So uh, but that stopped now a little bit, stabilized a little bit. But I don't know. In the future, they might try again. But the thing is, I think they're understanding it's not possible to control these things. In the government, we've been in contact with them, like different levels, different people, and they're understanding because it's already Bitcoin is unstopped. They cannot ban Bitcoin. They can declare it contraband. They can declare it illegal, but they cannot stop it. They know this, and if they cannot stop it, there will be other problems. So, if they understand before they try to do something stupid as trying to ban these things, if they can understand it, it's not gonna pay out. Maybe we'll stay clear of it. I don't know. It's like it's very hard to guess the future, but we were definitely concerned.
I saw a quote from the central bank governor in China. It was years ago, and I still remember the quote. And I haven't been able to find the source, but he called Bitcoin a cockroach that can't be killed, and I thought that was great because it's basically a honey badger. But and if the Chinese central bank can't kill it, then no other central bank can kill it. I think. So that was good. The exchange business is an interesting one. What do you think about trends in the exchange business, like into 2022? I saw recently that Coinbase had a pretty big acquisition in Latin America. And I think people have been talking about consolidation in actually both the mining business and in the exchange business for a while. Is that something you think we'll see in 2022 is consolidation within the exchange business?
Yes, yes, I do. There has to be, because liquidity is important, as you know. So if people can, the different exchanges can consolidate the liquidity. Actually, this was my first project with BtcTurk, BTC Trader, as I mentioned. We were trying to establish white labels with local banking relations, local customer relations, local marketing. But at the end, it's like one big pool of liquidity, one trade book. So it might go that way by the way of acquisitions. I think there's going to be consolidations all around the world. There's going to be a couple of big brands left probably. Uh, but we'll see. It's like the industry is in its infancy yet. We'll see what happens, how it evolves. This trading, like there are many things that's happening that we cannot foresee. The NFT space, blowing up. They're trying to market metaverse right now. I can't understand it, but there's something coming up. I don't know. There's going to be different digital assets, and there's going to be real securities tokenized in the future, near future. I think that's a big business too, like tokenizing bonds and stocks and whatever. So the industry is changing. I don't think anybody can foresee what's going to happen in a couple of years, but consolidation, definitely, I see consolidation in the future.
Yeah, one thing that I've learned is that the human desire for Ponzi is never ending, right? Whether it's ICOs, IEOs, or NFTs, like that will always exist in some form, and we can't stop it. And people love it, right? They love the casino, so we can't stop it.
Yeah, yeah. The thing is, if you have a way of printing money, you print money. That's human nature. It's like the bit Satoshi Nakamoto gave us a great gift in Bitcoin, but it also opened the door to other people who want to create their own money and print their own money. And if they're successful in marketing, they're becoming billionaires overnight. And as you said, the first adopters become Ponzi machines trying to shill their coins, shill their bags to others. It's like never ending. But I think I was upset at the beginning about these things, but right now I think we need to go through these for Bitcoin to win eventually. This is a natural way of doing things. Probably it's because human nature. You can't control it.
I think it's a learning process. I think that was my path when I got into Bitcoin. Is got into Bitcoin, number go up, and then you start looking around at other things. You get your face ripped off, and you learn a hard lesson. And I think that's probably a common story for a lot of people. And then you kind of realize what has fundamental value and what doesn't. So, everyone needs to learn tough lessons, I guess,
Yeah.
at times.
But one good thing about this, I think I might add, it's like I'm thinking about Bitcoin and Bitcoin's future. As I said, I value Bitcoin a lot, the most more than my company, and always I'm looking at this space like new digital assets, new coins coming up, and Like I said, I was a little upset at the beginning. Now I think it's natural, but also I think if you look at it from the bright side, it's like if it was only Bitcoin, it would have been attacked more by the states. I think so. It creates a big industry, all these metaverse and NFTs and other stuff, and people who don't really care about changing the money. Change the money, change the world, as they say, changing the monetary system. But they're trying to create something, so they came in the industry, and it kind of broadened the market, so it's less prone to attack right now. I think it's harder to attack from state actors right now, the whole industry. So it kind of gives Bitcoin a little bit political protection, I guess. I don't know. That's what I'm looking at from the bright side of these things. But at the end, like I said, I believe Bitcoin is going to be the only one left. Uh, all the other coins are going to be side chains and other layers using Bitcoin as a currency, but doing other stuff. I think that's going to happen eventually because uh, that's what money is. Money is monopolistic. Winner takes all. It's not. We're not going to have hundreds of different coins fluctuating in their value in our wallets and go shopping. Nobody wants that. So there's going to be one winner. I think Bitcoin is going to be it.
Jumping back to regulatory attitudes, do you think that the regulators in Turkey, do they see Bitcoin at all as a growth driver? So we've seen like in El Salvador, like definitely they're looking at Bitcoin as a growth driver, both in like the security token market and then just general Bitcoin. And I think we've seen that from, Texas, from senior politicians looking at mining, like the country of Laos is doing Bitcoin mining apparently, and all these different countries and states and provinces all around the world. Is there any feeling of that within Turkey?
Not regarding Bitcoin, but they understand the value of the business industry, digital asset trading, and other stuff. Uh, Not specifically Bitcoin, not like El Salvador or any other, specifically Bitcoin advocates.
Security tokens or
Security tokens, we've been talking about it. It's there's going to be a time that I think we can, let's say, legalize it. I don't know. I don't think it's illegal right now, but there are like other older laws. So I think they're going to accept it, securitized tokens, and it's going to be a big business, and it's going to help them too. As the governments are the most indebted organizations in the world, so they need to raise money, and they might try for their own benefit, tokenize bond sales, other stuff to sell bonds cheaper. Every government's going to try this, I think, because you have a broader market. If you tokenize the security, the bond, you can sell to anybody in the world, and it can be traded in any exchange in the world. So we're trying to sell them the idea. They should, but we'll see.
and what about Lightning? I mean, we've seen Bitfinex. I think was the first major exchange to integrate with Lightning support, and then I think Kraken recently has followed suit. Is Lightning useful, do you think, for traders and for exchange operators at all?
I don't think so. That's why we're developing Lightning too. But we're not in the product launch phase yet. But it wasn't our priority because I didn't think Lightning would be used between exchanges as an arbitrage tool. We, there has been a time where Bitcoin fees, like transaction fees, were very high, but that was a long time ago. Uh, I think Lightning is going to play more of a role in payments sphere. So right now, we're not focused on payments in Turkey because one, the central bank issued a warning already, so we don't want to push it, and I don't think it's going to be. Bitcoin is going to be used as payments anytime soon because it's the best money, and bad money draws out good money in the economy, as we know. So, if you have Turkish lira to spend or US dollar to spend, and you spend those before you spend Bitcoin. So, I think it's a little early to invest in from our perspective at least. I know there are companies investing in this, but I think it's a little bit early for us to push this into payment business. But in a few years, probably it's gonna be more seamless, more integrated system. I think if it happens with the all regular legacy financial payment system on top of Lightning, and it should be a good user experience, as you would imagine. So I don't think we can push people to Lightning right now, but we're working in the background.
Yeah, The central bank's concern around payments, that's an interesting one. I think India is kind of a similar situation where they don't mind if people are investing in Bitcoin or buying Bitcoin, but for them, it's an investment, it's a financial asset. And they don't want it to any way challenge the INR. So it sounds like kind of a similar approach in Turkey.
Yeah, it's normal. It's natural. It's like their business is like, for example, Turkish Central Bank actually has a similar position on dollars in Turkey. Like dollars are held as store of value in Turkey, but they cannot be spent. They don't let you. So it's the same thing. They don't mind you putting your money in as an asset as a store of value, whether it's U.S. dollars or Bitcoin, but they don't want you to spend them in regular economy. And it's only natural because they're trying to protect their own currency. It's like uh, I don't think anybody's gonna, any central bank's gonna be okay with this. The different countries might respond differently, but and I think the more plausible way of Bitcoin getting into this is getting into central bank reserves. Instead of being used directly, but trying to strengthen the local currency, adding Bitcoin to the reserves. I think that's going to be the next step. I don't know. I'm not sure, but that's what I'm betting on right now.
Yeah. So you guys have seen multiple Bitcoin cycles. Where do you think we are in the cycles at the moment? Like I think there's potentially a lot of price drivers for 2022. And I guess there's a little bit of debate as to whether the traditional 4-year kind of cycle has changed now, especially with so much institutional money coming in over the last year. What do you think about that? What are the big drivers for Bitcoin and where are we with cycles?
Uh, Good question. I don't know. I was sure the Bitcoin was gonna top $100,000 by last December, but this cycle has been different. I mean, it started the same way, but it didn't end, or it ended differently. So I quit predicting price because I was like embarrassed before my predictions. So I don't know. Maybe the cycles are dead. Maybe we're not gonna have a bear market.
68 isn't bad. That means you were 68% right, right?
Yeah. No, it's good. The price performance was very good, but we didn't have that FOMO phase. It's like a blow up phase in the couple of weeks. Going 2 times, 3 times. So maybe the market more matured. Maybe the probably there are a couple of factors. I think one is smart money is still going into Bitcoin, but dumb money is going on to other coins. So the FOMO effect is less in Bitcoin probably. And the second one is it's a more mature market, so it's like I don't know. I cannot. I'm not that smart to analyze these price stuff, but uh, like I said, if you're the best in the long run, you're going to be the only one left standing. So that's what I'm focused on, and trying to integrate Bitcoin more into people's lives personally, or through corporations and companies. We'll see. I don't look at the price anymore. It's like I gave up on that.
Understandable. So maybe last question. Looking forward, what gets you most excited about Bitcoin for the rest of this year for 2022? What do you think is the most exciting thing in Bitcoin?
Uh, I don't know if there's one thing, but every day that Bitcoin works is an awesome event for me. It's like every block that's been found. For the past 13 years, as you know, it was like it was working like a clockwork, a few exceptions, but every day Bitcoin survives is a good news. It's like it's strengthening. The Lindy effect and all the stuff, and it's like everybody is realizing at a different pace. So every day Bitcoin works, and new people will appreciate it more, I think. So it's not going to be one big event, I think, till the end of the year, but the regular Bitcoin miners finding blocks. It's like every 10 minutes. It's like producing blocks, whatever. So it's gonna start going on, like unless there's a very big political attack or support. I don't know. I can't foresee that till the end of the next year. uh, but other than that, I'm not expecting something very big.
Yeah, it's just a grind, isn't it? But I think it's been a really big year, and I think one thing about Bitcoin is that things happen quicker than you expect. Um, so we'll see. I think it'll probably be another big year for Bitcoin.
Yeah, I'm hopeful. Yeah.
Where can people go to find out more about you and BtcTurk?
Uh, BtcTurk.com is our official website. For me, I don't appear a lot. I do some videos, they can find, but mostly in Turkish. They're mostly in Turkish. I don't write a lot these days. So they can follow me at Twitter. The most, I use mostly Twitter. I tweet some English and Turkish tweets. So Kerem at Kerem Tibuk. It's easy. If they search my name, they can find it.
All right. Good stuff. Thanks a lot, Kerem. Appreciate the time today.
Thank you for having me.